G'day. It's Eric Bakker, the naturopath. Thanks for tuning in. Always good to see a new face. I haven't seen you in a long time. It's good to see you back. Now, let's talk about the 5 important principles to live by, right? Or to eat by, or to live by, or to sleep by. Probably to live by. The first one particularly relates to what you eat, but it more so relates to how much you eat, right? It still amazes me how much food people really need. And when they have a meal, not long after, they want another meal or they want more food. So always aim for eating less food, not more. I can assure you, you're not going to die of starvation. You're not going to die of starvation. You could stop eating for weeks on end, you still won't die of starvation. Providing you keep water intake up, you should be good to go, but you aren't going to last long without water. And beer is not a good substitute for water. So, but eat less food. Most people just eat too much. And how can you tell if they eat too much? Well, just look at the size of them. Big people often come from big meals. Now, a lot of people are going to comment on this video and say, Eric, you're wrong. You're full of crap. I'm huge. And I eat, half a carrot a day. We're going to get exceptions. We're always going to get people who've got metabolic dysfunction. But I can tell you now from all the years I've seen patients, it's a load of crap. Because in my opinion, most people who are that, they just have a problem controlling that, right? What goes in there. Now, I've seen this time and time again. Even people who told me that they eat small meals that are big, when I work with them for several weeks and several months and even longer, like a year, they kept losing weight. They kept losing weight, even though they thought that the plate sizes were small. They were still eating too much food. Your stomach gets bigger, and so do your portion sizes. It's surprising how much food people can put away day after day after day. If you are watching this and you're a big eater, and if you think you've got an issue with food, maybe you need help. Because I've had many patients over the years I've seen that actually needed psychological help because eating is a disorder. Eating too much food can be a huge addiction for people, especially sweet food like ice creams. They can have massive addictions. Just like with nicotine, just like with alcohol, just like with cannabis, just like with anything, food can be an addiction. And if you've got an issue, it needs sorting, right? Good to talk to your close friend. Good to maybe to get some therapy regarding the eating and to have some healthy boundaries put in place. Because right where I'm sitting now, I can tell you, as bright as that sun shining out there, most people eat too much, right? It's just how it is. How else can I package that? Try not to offend people, but you need to eat less food. And especially when you get to 60 plus like me, you need to lose less food because you're not really expending a tremendous amount of energy. Second one, the second important principle. Oh yeah, before I go further, point 1, let me also explain about a study that I've been looking at and I've heard other people talk about regarding rats and mice. And they've found a clear-cut connection between longevity of that rat or mouse and the quantity of food that that animal consumed. So they've done this study many times. So the more food the animal's allowed to eat, the shorter the lifespan. The less food the animal eats, especially as it ages, the longer the lifespan. And also the less disease. Right? Point 2, aim for limiting processed foods. Natural foods are always going to be your best bet, meaning cutting some broccoli out of the yard or fresh spinach is always going to be better than opening up a tin foil with God knows what kind of crap's in there and putting it in a pan and warming it up. Always going to be better, infinitely better. Living things that come from the soil that go into our body, I mean, this is where it's at. This is natural diet. We're not talking factory diet, we're talking natural diet. So always try and aim for fresh foods, foods that haven't been, cut or picked or shot or killed or whatever. Sounds awful, but you get the point. One of my doctor friends said to me, I always tell my patients this. He said, you need to eat what runs around on the ground, meaning an animal of some sort, what grows out of the ground or what grows into the ground, meaning, root crops or leaf crops or animals. And that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And what he didn't say is you need to eat what comes out of a tin can, a foil bag, or a plastic packet. It's not us, people, but it will be on this planet the way we're going in another 200 to 300 years. Because the way the Earth's warming up at this rate, 1 degree in, I don't know, the last couple of decades, there ain't going to be much running around on the soil or coming out of it. We'll be living in these big biospheres. I can see they're coming up in the future. Third one. This is the third important principle to eat by or live by. Aim for increasing vegetable intake. So I don't care whether you're a fish eater, what do they call them, pescetarian. I don't care whether you're a vegan. I don't care whether you're a carnivore. I don't care what kind of vor or diet or what you're on. You need to increase your vegetable intake. Even people who are vegans need to carefully look at their vegetable intake. Because I've had vegan patients, that would spend more time, with processed soy products or eating lots of fruit or looking at all kinds of alternative protein sources, but still consuming vegetables, but not as many as they could, or not the variety that they could, right? So increasing vegetable intake is a key thing. Regardless of current consumption, do a bit of a check on yourself on how many serves of veggies you're having a day and what type. Now, that is one food I don't mind people eating a lot of, but you never, ever, ever seem to see people going back for seconds with steamed broccoli or seconds with spinach. It's always seconds of ice cream, seconds of fries, isn't it? It's always that kind of stuff that people want more plates of. But the real good stuff, they'll have a little bit of that. An Asian doctor friend of mine, a very good friend from South Korea, you people have got it all wrong in the Western world. He said, in my country, small piece of meat, big vegetable plate. In your country, big piece of meat, small vegetable plate. And it's so true. No, I'm not being racist here. He's a cool guy. And I always try and talk Korean, but he just tells me I'm a fool. So what's new? Point 4 out of the 5 important principles. Aim for buying local, organic, or consider growing some of your own foods. It's good to get involved in your own foods. I love growing food for that reason. I get a real thrill out of that. Sure, I could get into drag car racing or parachute jumping or stuff like that, but I prefer to grow carrots. I prefer to grow apples and berries and all these kind of foods, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of it. And also cooking and preparing those foods for our family and friends. And you can certainly taste the difference. We had a beautiful purple broccoli yesterday, and also some Romano, some of the Italian spiral broccoli. It was fantastic. I cut that, steamed it, and we're eating it literally like 10 minutes later. So that's what you call local and organic, right? It's pretty local. Like, 20 meters from the kitchen is pretty local. So, but if you're going to buy some vegetables, I bought some broccoli once from a supermarket years ago, and I found out it came from China. I've got nothing against China, right? But the funny thing is, I kept this piece in the fridge. I wanted to see what happened. I put it in the vegetable crisper. I left it there for about 6 weeks, and you know what? It didn't look any different than it did when I put it there. It was a bit like that burger experiment, McDonald's experiment. Go and buy yourself a Big Mac and put it under a glass container, and 6 months later you can probably still sell it or eat it. So, not good. Something's not right with that kind of food, is it? When you cut broccoli, you notice that literally within 24 hours the colour changes. Within 2 days the texture and taste changes. I don't even want to eat it after 2 days. Right? That's how fresh I like the food, because I'm used to eating broccoli like that. Now you guys might not be as fussy as that, but when you eat food quickly, when it's been grown, you've got food full of nutrition. Researchers found, for example, they did a big study on tomatoes in Australia years ago, and they found some of the tomatoes sold at the markets had 0 vitamin C content. What's the point in eating food that looks good, That's why it's good. If you know someone who grows, you may know a farmer's market person. So go to your local produce store and get friends with people. I'm quite friendly with a lot of these people who grow stuff. And it really pays, because you can trade. I swap honey for different things, and and it works out quite well. So that's what I mean, aim for buying local. Fifth point, I've already mentioned this in a previous video, not actually just before, cook and eat at home. This is an important principle. Eating at home is a very important thing, in my opinion, especially if you've got a family. It's important. It's what we did in the 50s and 60s. We ate at home. We didn't even have Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's when I was a kid. They were just coming in, I think, several years later. So we ate at home. We cooked the chook, and the family would sit around that. That's how it was. So eating at home saves you money. You've got a lot more control over the quality of the food that you're eating, and it's a much more social thing. And you'll save money, and you'll probably get way better in terms of cooking and making foods too. Right? So that's my 5 principles. Let me just quickly give you that rundown. First one, aim for less food. Second one, aim for limiting processed food. Third one, aim for buying local and organic, or grow your own. And the fifth one, aim for cooking and eating at home. Done. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.